Welcome back, guys. My name is Patrick.
My name's Mike.
And this is the Fanatics, episode 4. We're going to do a complete NHL trade deadline wrap-up for the Edmonton Oilers. They make 2 trades today, acquiring Derek Brassard and Brett Kulak. Mike, what are your thoughts on the trades?
Wow. It's just riveting how amazing these 2 players are. You know what? We can say what we can say, and we can be upset like we are legitimately about, what Holland did or didn't do. I like Kulak. I think he's going to bring a really good depth to our D-core. He has, some pretty good playoff pedigree. Went to the final last year. So we'll see what he brings. He does shore it up on that, like they were saying, like he could play, in that second pairing if we need him to, in that third pairing. He was playing with Petrie for a lot of the year this year against other teams, top lines. I think he's playing on the penalty kill as well. So it's going to be interesting to see. Old man Brassard, I don't know. I think it just brings that veteran presence.
Yeah, I mean, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He brought in a depth forward, depth defenseman. I like the retention in both trades, holding back 50%. Yeah. For a while there, we thought maybe Jake Allen was part of the trade, or there was Arturi Lehkonen. A lot of fans were hoping maybe he was part of that deal. Obviously, not at the end of the day. But with the retention, I really like the Kulak deal. Derek Brassard, he's a guy I targeted earlier in the year for the Oilers, so I think he's a great pickup for the bottom 6. Probably just going to see him as strictly a rental for the Oilers, but there has been talk already that the Oilers might re-sign Brett Kulak. I'm sure they're going to give him a test run here and make sure the fit is good. Like, I don't think he's getting signed tomorrow or anything like that. But
well,
yeah, watch as he gets signed tomorrow. And what the hell are you doing, Pat? But see how the fit goes with Brett Kulak. But I'm really happy with those additions. For goaltending, the options were there. Mike, you and I were talking just before we started recording.
And we both love that Kapanen guy.
Yeah. Kaapo Kähkönen, $725K. He's waivers exempt. I mean, like, I know he can't just say, oh, this goal is available, so we're going to go out and trade for him. But Ken Holland should put it in the time. Like, Kaapo Kähkönen is an upgrade on Mike Smith.
Hey, I don't know. Maybe Mike Smith has a Dwayne Rollison last 20 games here, and, he takes us all the way to the dance. Highly unlikely, but as a fan, I would love to see it, right? But again, we have another whole year of a 41-year-old goaltender making $2.2 million. Are you comfortable with having Smith and Skinner as your tandem next year?
No. The Oilers have to find some way, somehow. Whatever you got to do, you got to get rid of Mike Smith. Stuart Skinner, we know he's going to be in the tandem next year. Mike Smith cannot be that other goalie in the tandem. Mikko Koskinen, if he keeps up his play, I'd consider maybe giving him another 1 or 2 year deal. But we got to see, let's see how things are at the summer, see how the playoffs go, see who's available. Because if you can upgrade there for a price that you're going to give to Koskinen, maybe you just let Koskinen walk. You go with Skinner, you go with somebody else. But they definitely got to get Mike Smith's situation figured out, because Mike Smith is not part of the solution going forward. The Oilers have to find a way to create more cap space this summer. I think Zach Kassian's got to go. Tyson Barrie's got to go. We're going to be having the same conversation next year at trade deadline. Oh, the Oilers can't do anything because they don't have any space. They're not scheduled to have any more space next year at this point. So we're going to be having the same conversation unless Ken Holland or whoever becomes general manager, if he leaves, creates some space.
Guys that we've acquired, right? How good of an acquisition has Evander Kane been? He's brought nothing but 120% effort. He stood up for his teammates on the ice. He's kept his nose clean for him as far as that I could see since he's been here so far. I think if the conversation is going to be made is the fact that if we can get through a couple series or do really well in the postseason, from now until the postseason, then in the playoffs, there's a conversation to be had to keep him around for another year, maybe 2. I get it. I don't want to, go into long-term stuff because it seems to be what has kind of hurt him in other organizations and kind of brought forth these demons from other organizations.
And that's a future discussion too. We'll get into, when the season's over, we'll do a good, big summer.
But I tell you, as looking at trade deadline, I think, that was a great acquisition that we got 20 games ago. And now you look forward, it's depth stuff. Everybody wanted to have, a shore up on goaltending, but unfortunately, I think now we're just going for the run that we're on, right? You know, this is the team that our aging GM has put forth in front of us. You still do have the top two players in the entire league, and Draisaitl and his little brother there, McDavid. And so I don't know. Let's take this out for a run. Here's my last question to you. Coming into this next, 3 or 4 games here, Nuge comes back. Where do you slate Nuge in onto the team right now?
I put Nuge third line center.
Put him back in that third line center.
Yeah, I think. Well, you got to use the 1, 2, 3. You got to use the gift that's been given to you here, right? Because it was going so well. I don't know if.
And then you put Derek Ryan and Warren Foegele back with him. Like, do you just reformulate that line?
I wouldn't mind seeing it tried because it was doing so well right up until Nuge got hurt, right?
Fair enough. I agree. And then, what would that make the bottom 6 look like? It would have Foegele, Nuge, and Ryan together, and then you would have Brassard, McLeod, and Cassian. Yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah, and then I guess probably Archibald and Brassard might play each other out, or then you have like Devin Shore
alternate and keep them fresh. Maybe, I don't know. Archie plays the home games, Brassard plays the away games, and you hope that maybe they alleviate that mess, before the playoffs, and then it doesn't really matter. You just have continue to have that depth, and being able to put fresh guys in if people get banged up in the postseason, because that would be great.
I think it's just too bad the Oilers couldn't have found a way to move Josh Archibald, because even if they had to retain half, like that would have been another $750,000 for him to use
to get Kakinen.
But I mean, like, it has to be someone willing, because I'll pay the $1.5 million for you, because that's just chump change. But so I mean, like, I know it's not just easy. Give them away, but it's all said and done anyway. It's all said and done.
So now, Pat, we got 20 games left, starting with Colorado tonight. What do you see? Where do you see the Oil at? How do you see the next 20 games and where they fare? Do you think they end up being that third spot in our conference?
I think we can grab the second spot. I think because the way they're playing right now, obviously they got to keep it up. I see them winning at least 14, 15 of the final 20, say roughly 20 games that they got. I mean, there's going to be a couple losses sprinkled in here and there. And
Mike Smith.
But I think this team has found its groove with getting Ryan Nugent-Hopkins back. That's going to be another, let's call it a deadline edition if you want to. It's another upgrade to the team. I think it's going to.
Because how many games has he missed now? Like 12?
Something like that. He's been gone for a while.
It's crazy.
So, yeah, like getting Nuge back, adding Derek Brassard, adding Brett Kulak to the blue line. The Oilers just going to be so much deeper, so much more options. So, I don't know. I'm pretty happy. Like, I don't know if the Oilers have the team that can take down the Colorado Avalanche, that can take down the Calgary Flames. We always seem to match up well against Calgary. Like, I know they got a great team, but Connor McDavid knows how to light up Jacob Markstrom. McDavid finds a way to score against Calgary pretty much every game. I guess I don't know if he got one the last time they played, but other than that, he seems to always get at least 1 or 2 on Markstrom. So, not that Calgary's going to be pushover. They got an excellent team this year.
They do.
But
I just think
I think the Oilers kind of match up well against them. I don't know.
But again, I think a healthy Oilers club against any of these top teams, I'm sorry. I don't think that they're going to get rolled 7-4 tonight by Colorado. Okay, could it happen because Mike Smith's in that? Sure. But I don't think that they're that bad. I think that they're starting to hit on all the areas in which they need to hit. I think Gregor or Strudwick said it this afternoon, where the only thing they need to show up is just to, really work on the special teams. The power play has to start clipping and connecting. But oh my Lord, it would be nice if the officials, I don't know if they're getting ready for the playoffs, but and they started with game 1 of the Oilers season.
If they are, they've been ready since day 1.
Exactly. That's the other thing, is that come the postseason, man, the one thing about Duncan Keith is that if they start letting him play his game in the playoffs, because he can be vicious, and if they're going to not call stuff, it's another really good guy that I'm glad that we have. I really like the tutelage that he's been giving to Bouchard here over the course of these last 10 games. I think putting them together was huge. Ceci has been an awesome addition to the team this year.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting to see these last 20 games and how they roll. I don't think it's going to be a tire fire. I think you're right. I think they're going to go on, and I think they're going to win 14, 15 of these next 20 games and really put themselves in a position to go, okay, like, we're putting our head up high here. You know, we might not have, you know, the gold star standard for a tandem in our net, but Mikko Koskinen does have the second best numbers of any goaltender in these last 15, 18 games. He is like, what, 10, 1 and 2 in his last 13 starts? You can't take that away from the guy, right? Like, I get it, he's streaky and all that kind of stuff, but you have to also give a guy props where it's due, and I think he doesn't get it enough. And, you know, good on for Mikko for really playing his game the last 13 games as well.
Yeah. And like they say sometimes too, sometimes the best trades you make are the ones that you don't make. Who's to say these guys don't go in the playoffs?
And shock the shit out of everybody.
And like,
right?
Oh, thank God we didn't trade that guy away or trade that guy away.
Could we, you know, fly under the radar and be like the 8th seed LA Kings of what, 4 or 5 years ago there, that just kind of snuck and bit everybody in the ass and won the cup? I'm not saying we're going to go out and win the cup, but man, would that be awesome? No,
but yeah, maybe they made the moves that they needed to make, and it goes far. Like I personally don't think so.
Yeah,
but
we never know. There's a
20-game
audition to see if Holland can prove us all wrong.
So overall, what kind of grade lettering would you give for Ken Holland for his trade deadline performance?
I think for what we were looking for, we weren't getting a goaltender, even though we wanted one. I would probably give him a B minus. You know, I don't think he really, you know, or a C, right? But a B minus.
I was going to give him a B minus.
Yeah,
so I just thought
you know, it just B minus, just because, you know, he didn't really hit anything out of the park. He didn't really take care of some of the stuff that I wish he would have been able to take care of. I think he did make some good additions. Kulak, I think, is going to be a really nice, interesting addition to the club. Brassard, he is what he is. You know, is he that sandpaper guy for the bottom six? Is he a guy that, you know, maybe, you know, makes McLeod and Cassian play a little bit better? Who knows? Yeah.
Well, Brassard, he's one of those guys, if one of your centers goes down, he's a really good center. I believe earlier in the year he had an over 50% face-off winning percentage. So
that's already better than anybody on the Oil.
Yeah, so he's like, if heaven forbid a Draisaitl or a Nuge goes down again, like, he's a guy who could probably slot in on your third line center if needed. So it's depth there. Brett Kulak, we'll see how it goes. That signing, or that trade, looks even better if the Oilers are able to re-sign him. So yeah, I'd say overall B minus.
Well, especially with, we all knew that Bill Lagesson wasn't going to get a shot. This is it's not only just a great trade for us to get Kulak, who is a great upgrade on our being a proven like 28-year-old defenseman in the NHL, who, you know, went to the finals last year and played top 4 minutes. Like, he's probably going to come in and play 18, 20 minutes a night for us. Whereas Lagesson was barely getting a chance, and even with Woody at the helm, he still wasn't getting the minutes. You know, Broberg was playing really well, and then unfortunately he's injured, I think, now too. But it's going to be really interesting to see how these next 20 games go. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how the boys really come together. If they can make some really good momentum on their power play and their penalty kill moving forward here too, like, you know, maybe we're talking about a dark horse come the playoffs.
So overall, B minus. I think Ken Holland did all right. He did what he said he was going to do. So I think that's our wrap up today for the trade deadline. Let us know your thoughts on the trade deadline in the comment section below. For today, I'm Patrick.
I'm Mike.
Thanks for tuning in. You've been watching The Oilers Fanatic. Thanks for being a fan. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe. Have a great evening, guys. Take care. We'll see you soon.